Hello all and welcome back to another episode of TechRise. I feel like I've missed you all. I've been gone for a few weeks, but this is one of my favorite episodes that we do, and it's supporting our women in tech here in Chicago, and it's sponsored in partnership with Get Cities and, as always, Verizon. For those of you who are watching for the first time, TechRise is an initiative started in partnership with Verizon and P33 to help support Chicago's BIPOC and women identifying founders all the way from idea stage to exit. So each week we have 3 to 5 founders take the stage, and they compete for somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000. So they pitch for 4 minutes, and it's followed by 4 minutes of Q&A from incredible judges that represent our venture and investment community, both locally and nationally. And then they choose a winner real time. So we want to stay until the end because it's a great way to go into the weekend, especially on a beautiful weekend like this where we're celebrating Lollapalooza in our wonderful city. However, I do have a bit of unfortunate news, which is that I was pulling the numbers on how Chicago is performing for our women co-founded companies so far this year and how it compares to last year, because we know there's some macroeconomic trends at play. And when I say women co-founded, it means there's at least one woman founder on the team, not that the team was entirely founded by women. So last year in 2021, we had 31 deals at this time of year. This year, 29 deals, so not that big of a difference. But the real delta comes into the fact that we last year represented 2.5% of the total deal amount, like dollar amount. And now that number has dropped to 0.87% of all of the venture funding coming into Chicago is going to women co-founded companies. And the median amount raised last year was around 2 million, and it's down to 1.2 million compared to 4.8 million across the city. So we have a lot of work to do, and that's why episodes like this are so critical, in our partnership with Get Cities. Gender equality in tech is so critical because we are a city that says we have 35% of our startups founded by women, yet we're not funding them. So this is hopefully the beginning of a funding journey for these incredible women that you're going to see today. And I hope that you will find ways to support them, if not with your dollars, with your time. So on that note, I'm excited to celebrate these incredible women and to bring the incredible women judges that we have for today. So we're welcoming back Tessa Flippin. She's a founder and managing partner at Capitalize VC. She and her team at Capitalize are working to reduce the racial wealth gap by investing in early stage Black and Latinx founders, while simultaneously creating access for diverse LPs. Tessa began her career in venture capital as a venture investor at TechNexus, where she invested in enterprise SaaS technologies at the seed stage. She went on to join Genius Scale Greenhouse Fund as a venture capitalist in residence, investing in Black founders in fintech, health tech, and connectivity. And she's now actively serving on the board of Black VC Midwest and the advisory board of Chicago Blend. Although, aren't you on the real board now of for Chicago Blend? So nice, acceleration there. Thank you for your continued commitment to our ecosystem. And she's working hard to bring diversity to the Midwest tech ecosystem. So great to have you back. Thanks so much for making the time.
Good to be here.
Next, we have some more Chicago Blend representation here with part of the Venture Fellows program. So next, we have Neethi Nayak. She's a Chicago Venture Fellow with Chicago Blend. She's also an MBA MPP candidate at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And she served as a Venture Fellow at TechNexus Venture Collaborative. She's excited about working at a VC fund or in venture philanthropy in the future, and is looking forward to deploying capital to companies that are innovating in clean energy, clean tech, and food. So welcome, it's great to have you. And next we have Grisel Hernandez. She is a Chicago Venture Fellow with Chicago Blend also. She's a lifelong Chicagoan, first generation American, and first in her family to graduate from high school and college. Congratulations on that. In her role at the Office of the Illinois State Treasurer, Grisel has learned how to deploy capital cost effectively while developing a passion for economic equity and sustainable development. By becoming a VC in the future, she's seeking to build wealth and opportunities within historically underrepresented and diverse talent markets, including immigrants, people of color, and women in the earliest stages of venture financing. So we have a wonderful group here, excited to see your careers develop, and really excited to have our founders come onto the stage. So I'm going to welcome back Kendall Hawthorne with Chicago Coffee. Are you there, Kendall? Sorry. Great.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. I'm going to go video off and you can come into screen share.
Okay. The Chicago Coffee app is a marketplace that guides residents and tourists to local coffee shops in Chicago. You may think that mobile ordering is already solved because of companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats, But ask any coffee shop owner and they'll tell you that this is not true. When a customer goes to these sites, they're overwhelmed with fast food options, pizzerias, and taco joints. Local coffee shops in Chicago just don't stand out. Shops lose out on new customers finding them and get overshadowed by more well-known brands. To solve this problem, for customers, we curated a list of quality coffee shops to select from, and for coffee shops, we carved out a space that highlights their company, bringing in new customers. What makes us unique is we're the hometown heroes. Our app allows coffee shops to compete with larger chains under one brand, and customers are able to go to one place to find a trusted source of quality coffee shops. I can relate to this problem because when I was new to Chicago, I used coffee shops as a way to explore different communities around the city. I have a degree in product development from Bowling Green State University, and I've used that knowledge to help build this company alongside Deshawn. Deshawn is a graduate from Joseph Business School, and as an Uber driver over the past 6 years has talked with thousands of passengers. And the number one question that everyone is asking is, where are the best places to eat and drink like a local? And that's exactly why we created the Chicago Coffee app. We recently brought on Edward as our CTO, and he has a background in robotics engineering from the military. He also just recently finished his master's degree at Loyola University in computer science and was the employee number 2 at a major startup company. According to Time Out magazine, Chicago is the #1 best city in America and #2 best city in the world. In the Chicago market, there are over 8 million residents and potentially 57 million tourists that visit each year, contributing to a $32 billion food and beverage market right here in Chicago. But let me tell you how our app works. When a customer downloads our app, they're able to locate the nearest local coffee shops to them. When the order is placed in our system, it immediately gets placed at the shop's tablet that we installed. When a customer purchases 10 cups of coffee, they get the 11th one free. We charge a 9% service fee per transaction to the users, and shops pay a monthly subscription to be on our platform. Our formula for scalability is based on users. The average transaction at a coffee shop is $11. With 5,000 users making an $11 transaction a day on the Chicago Coffee app will equal about $2 million in annual revenue for us. We've gained some promising traction since launching our MVP last month. We have 5 shops on board and about 100 user downloads. With the funds today, we will invest in buying our first cup of coffee for our users to incentivize them to download the app. And so that's how we're going to use the investment today to reach our goal, for 5,000 users. Final thoughts I want to keep in mind. If you were building the Airbnb today to service the food and beverage industry, you would empower business owners that serve the community while giving residents and tourists the experience of a local. And that's exactly what we're building here at Chicago Coffee app, because we believe when small businesses are growing, the economy and community thrives. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Judges, we can bring you back on camera. And Tessa, I'm gonna have you start.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kendall. So my question is around the cost for coffee shops to join and kind of like that process. So I know you mentioned subscription for coffee shops. What is the cost of that? And then how do you anticipate scaling beyond the 5 to hundreds of coffee shops in different cities?
Is it okay if I answer that question as the other founder, Deshawn? And so how will we scale? One, you said to answer the question correctly, you said the service fee. So we're charging a 9% service fee per transaction to the user, and the shops pay a monthly subscription on being on our platform. And the way that we will go about scaling beyond 5 is what's been working for us is going door to door, chatting over a cup of coffee, building a relationship with the coffee shop owners, and they enjoy that because we're supporting their business. And also we do a free, I would say like a video and take a photo of their environment and post it on our social media. And they love that. And that draws business without even getting on our platform. And so they do love that. Anything I need to add, Kendall?
As far as the subscription model goes, Tessa, so right now we're running a promotion for our shops that get on board. We waive our $250 activation fee. But then as we are scaling past our 5 shops, that $250 would come into play, and then our monthly subscription after that.
Neethi, you want to go next?
Sure. Kendall, can you share with me what your biggest priority in the next 6 months is and what plans you have to achieve that?
Yeah. Deshaun, you want to take it first?
Yes. So our biggest plan is, one, we partner with Airbnb host where the coffee shops are in that location. And we partner with that host and give them a Checago coffee map for their guest binder. And then that guest binder is a map where you can scan a QR code, download the app, and explore the coffee shops that is in that area. And that's one way that we're, our next 6-month goal to help us get users to download the app to reach our 5,000 users, and also continuing to meet with coffee shop owners to get them more familiarized with the Checago Coffee platform and share our story and the reason why we started our platform. Anything that I left out, Kendall?
Yeah, I think the last thing I think we'll mention is new users. As a new platform, increasing our brand awareness. So we're doing that in a couple of different ways. One, by being in the community at different events. So we were at Coffee Fest, talking with different owners, talking with customers, letting them know about us. We were also at some local coffee events as well that are happening. One was a screening reel of a coffee episode docuseries that was happening in Chicago. So being in those the environment with where people in the industry are at, that's one way that we're connecting with people. And then also with the funds, we will be incentivizing new users to get onto the app. So that's really our next priority, is just gaining new users by incentivizing them to get onto the app with our rewards program, and then also buying the first cup of coffee.
Right, Grisel.
All right, I guess my question is if you could talk a bit about the competitive landscape for a service like this, and share a bit about where your company fits within the broader ecosystem of maybe these more specialty food recommendation or delivery services, or recommendation more than delivery.
Yes, I could take that question. So when you come to Chicago for the first time, you're looking for a tour guide. And the Chicago Coffee app is just that. We're a tour guide for coffee lovers that looks to explore our city. And so what makes us different, and coffee shop love this, is that we're Chicago focused. We're the home team. We're just like the Chicago Bulls, Chicago Bears. And so imagine when you're coming to Chicago for the very first time and you're looking to go to a baseball game, you may take an Uber or you may take a rideshare platform. But imagine if a Chicago wanted to say, hey, take the train to the game so you can get in the environment, whether you're getting off on 35th to see the Sox or whether you're getting off on Addison to see the Cubs. So that's really where we fit in. As we're the hometown hint team.
I'm sorry, that was 8 minutes, but great job, Kendall and Deshaun. And thank you to the Chicago Coffee team. And we're going to move on next to Tandem. So Michelle Deere is going to join us now.
Thanks, Desiree.
It looks like you're good to go.
All right. Did you know there's one thing that 70% of couples in the US now do before marriage, and that's move in together? I'm Michelle, and I'm the co-founder of Tandem, and I'm going to tell you why that's relevant. Couples are combining their lives, yet living financially separate. This is the underlying theme of the problem we're looking to solve. Back in the 60s, moving in together and getting married happened synonymously. Fast forward to now, couples are moving in together sooner and getting married later. Expense sharing is the first major financial pain point that couples experience once they move in, and this is what couples use today for expense sharing: non-stop Venmo requests and a messy manual spreadsheet. We built Tandem to provide a seamless way for couples to share expenses. Tandem is an expense sharing app for couples, and this is how it works. You download the app and it integrates with all of your current spending accounts. So credit cards, debit cards, bank account. You only see your individual transactions, and your partner's not going to see these. They're only going to see what you choose to share with them. It's completely customizable, whether you're a 50-50 couple or not. And then unique to us, we allow you to automate certain expenses like rent or Netflix that you're always going to want to share with your partner. All of your shared expenses net out against each other in this third screen here, with one running total of who owes who. And this is where you eliminate the back and forth of apps like Venmo and Splitwise. And then you can settle up whenever you want right from within the app. We've been thrilled with the early validation metrics we've gathered from our beta. Our focus was to optimize for engagement, and we saw a ton of that. We launched the app late last year in test flight, and in just a few months, couples split over $1.5 million of expenses on the platform. They average visited it about 20 times a month, and now we have over 11,000 users on the waitlist for early access in the App Store, which our app was just approved yesterday to launch in the App Store. So we're thrilled about it. Customer acquisition cost has consistently been about $3 a couple. They invite their partner, that gets cut to $150 a user. And the distribution channels we've been focusing on are organic social. We've generated over 8 million free impressions that way, paid social, partnerships, and PR. Our ultimate goal for the business is to build the financial operating system for couples' lives together. This starts with expense sharing as the wedge into the couples finance market. And from there, there's a plethora of additional financial products couples have yet to purchase that we want to help guide them through each of those milestones as they grow together. The business model we focus on has 2 revenue channels, subscription and lead generation. So fast follower to our launch will be a premium version of the expense sharing app, of which couples will pay a small monthly fee for premium features. And then a larger portion of a couple's LTV will be made up of lead partnerships, in which we partner with financial product providers to serve value-added recommendations, serving as basically an alternative customer acquisition channel for larger financial institutions to help optimize our couple's financial product suite as they move through additional milestones in their life. How we're different from the competition is basically we replace P2P payments without the need to get a joint account. So there's no manual entry required as there is when you use Venmo or Splitwise or other splitting applications. Yet you do not have to change a thing about how you transact when you want to share expenses with your partner. We don't require you to sign up for any new cards or accounts. So it's a really low bar to download Tandem and easy to get started. It's a huge market that we're attacking. Our initial beachhead is 17 million unmarried cohabitants in the United States, expanding to over 50 million married millennials. And when you add up all the different financial products these couples have yet to buy, it represents over a $60 billion revenue opportunity in fintech. Our milestones we're working on hitting right now are launching our app in the App Store, which, as I said, was just approved, building our team specifically in engineering and the marketing functions, and then growing our user base and refining our brand. The use of this prize money specifically would help us bring on another engineer to accelerate our product development, which we really need. We really built Tandem for ourselves. All of our founding team here lives with their significant others, has battled the expense sharing pain point. My background's in private equity, working with management teams to grow their businesses. My co-founder, Dan, has a ton of experience setting up lead partnerships, which is the business model we're pursuing with Tandem. And then our founding engineers, Matt and Emily, come from Amazon and Venmo and are extremely talented. Our ultimate goal for Tandem is to become the all-encompassing platform that improves a couple's financial lives together and, in turn, their relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And then judges, you can come back onto the camera, and I'm going to start with Neethi.
Sure. Michelle, thanks so much for your presentation. Can you talk a little bit through your pricing model and revenue generation?
Yeah, definitely. So for the subscription specifically, we're launching actually a sliding scale similar to Truebill if you're familiar with that app. But basically couples can choose what their monthly price is. If they choose a lower tier, they have to pay it all upfront annually. If they choose a higher tier, they can pay month to month, and that will range from $3 to $6 a user. And then as we get into lead partnerships, the first one we're launching is with a partner called Spinwheel, which is student debt, credit card debt, and auto debt refinancing. And we'll basically earn a lead fee from whenever our users opt into those products. And how it works is it's not just an affiliate link that we kind of push them out to. It's a much more embedded process within the app. They'll finish out their profile and we'll ask, what else do you have? Do you have student loans? You can connect those. You can see repayment scenarios. And then Unique to Us will actually allow their partner to contribute to those monthly payments if they want. We found that's a huge thing our beta users are doing manually through Venmo. So we wanted to automate that within our app. So if they see all those different financing scenarios, they opt into it, we can earn a lead fee of $300 to $1,300 per user, depending on the refinance. So our business model is to stack more and more of those experiences on top of each other, which can be super lucrative from an LTV perspective.
Hi, Grisel, you want to go next?
Sure. Thanks, Michelle. I'm wondering if you could talk a bit about the customer discovery journey and how those insights led to your product.
Yeah, so I spoke with hundreds of couples. It's been nice because the target market is exactly like me and my founding team, all of our network, our friends and family. But we've gotten introduced to so many couples along the way, and our beta was extremely helpful in just learning more about our exact user. We've kind of identified that the best users for Tandem are dual earning couples, city-centric, and they actually have a higher FICO profile than I think we originally had anticipated. The 4th most connected card to our platform is Amex Platinum. So really looking to service these kind of dual earning couples that want that equal contribution and want to basically take advantage of their financial lives together. So a ton of learnings on the profile. And then we also thought it would be mostly for cohabitating couples not yet married, but we had a lot of married couples that joined the beta, which was a surprise to us. But the joint account is really declining in popularity as couples start to get married later or come with bigger jobs, bigger savings and whatnot. So that was another learning, that it really does serve kind of all relationship stages.
All right, Tessa.
I'm curious around fundraising. Can you talk about what stage you guys are at, how much you've raised in the past?
Yeah, so we just raised a round of about 600,000, and last year we raised 370. So we've raised 970 in total.
We have a bit more time if anyone has a last question, or Michelle, if you have anything else you want to add.
If there's no other questions, I would just add, above all of the metrics and everything, the most exciting part about this business has been the feedback that we've received from our users. We really built this product with the modern couple in mind. Like I said, some of our competitors put out a joint debit card product, or it's very manual with Venmo and a spreadsheet. So we really built this for the modern couple, and we have hundreds of emails, messages, intercom chats, of a ton of validating feedback from our users, even with a really basic product that we first pushed out to them with bugs and everything. So we're thrilled about the qualitative feedback that we've gotten from users, the new features, and feel really, really confident about this App Store launch, and that it's going to solve a big pain point for couples.
Thanks, Michelle. Great job. And
Thank
I'm going
you.
to say goodbye to the judges for a little bit. And next, we're going to invite on Semiautomatic, Semiotics, and Zenah Khawaja. I hope I said that correctly. I should have checked with you first. Are you ready? And then you can just, perfect, come video on, perfect. And I'm sorry, will you say your name properly, because I didn't ask you in advance?
It's Zenah.
Zenah.
Khawaja.
Apologies.
No problem. Immersive 3D has inherent value in consumer-facing applications. For physical showrooms, we believe a wearable minimalist approach is best. This was shown by the Lego 3D pop-up kiosk that increased likelihood to purchase by 64%. It was also shown by the Adidas virtual footwear wall that features product previews and customization. It grew shoe revenue 5-fold. According to Forrester, stores will account for 71% of all sales till 2024. Obsolete inventory, also known as dead inventory, is defined as inventory that is no longer expected to sell. It was estimated to be as much as 30% of all inventory in 2017. Immersive 3D product representation has the potential to reduce the total cost of dead inventory. According to Grandview Research, the retail display market will grow to $57.9 billion by 2025, giving us our TAM. Annual ad spending of our targeted subsector in 2020 was $985 million. Our SAM of $390 million presumes low budget sales and marketing. Our target market of 60 million presumes 15% of major North American metro stores would adopt showroom technology. This slide breaks down what we and our systems partner each provide. Initially, we'll offer quarterly software licensing based on 2 categories of systems. Going forward, we plan to offer a single quarterly license type. We also receive a double-digit percentage commission from our system partner per system sold. For your reference, these are screenshots of sample immersive 3D content. While they don't reflect the full quality of our product, they offer you a glimpse. At scale, we have a climate impact on the EPA estimated 40.1 megatons of CO2 emissions generated by medium and heavy-duty trucks. This is because our digital inventory representation reduces the frequency of transport from regional warehouses to stores. Our marketing plan consists of both in-house sales and trade shows. For the initial market, our customer acquisition cost is $5,500 post-initial pilot. Lifetime value is $280K. Our competitors develop content for head-mounted displays. However, a museum exhibit that grew overnight stay sales 18% showed that it was the theater-style VR approach that actually grew sales in retail-like settings. I serve as our CEO. I have prior experience as a software developer for Forbes 5000 Telecom. I've also managed multiple immersive 3D demos. Our COO has extensive industry experience, having led the operations of a 200-store chain with $500 million in annual revenue. We have a network of game developers whose skill set spans both Unreal Engine and Unity 3D HDRP. We work with an established theater-style VR vendor that has sold multiple systems to corporate laboratories, including multiple systems to a Fortune 100. Our mentors include Daniel Kaki, part of the original team at Apple, and Lawrence Levine, founder of SecurePipe that became public as TrustWave. Thus far, we have a lead to sales conversion rate average of 33% going up to the developed stage. Since the pandemic, we've seen an increase in receptivity from in-store operations teams. This includes a meeting with a global 300 store chain for whom we're currently outlining a pilot budget for deployment at a flagship store. We would use a $25K award to complete a demo based on their stated needs. We have also seen receptivity from 2 chains which are 400 stores and above in size based solely on our climate impact. Most recently, we've seen receptivity from a 500 store chain that had declined meeting with us in 2021 based on the sharp rise in fuel cost. Post-pilot, our technology will empower thousands of consumers to customize items at point of purchase, will enable retailers to collect data on consumer preferences to better inform supply chain processes, and most importantly, it will reduce GHG emissions to reduce the speed of climate change.
All right, great job, Zenah. Now we're going to have the judges come on, and I'm going to start with Grisel, if I could.
All right, thank you for the presentation. I guess I'm wondering if you could comment a bit about like these broader macro trends regarding climate, and perhaps the move to internet for purchasing, and sort of answer that with your why now for your company.
Actually, the why now is really centered around the overages, inventory overages that retailers are dealing with post-pandemic. So right now they're dealing with having to do a lot of markdowns and pack and holds, which are not ideal for them whatsoever. They are making risky choices with those, and what our technology can do is actually better inform their supply chain processes. So something that there wasn't time to cover in the presentation is that we are currently part of the Supply Chain Innovation Lab that's being hosted by 1871 Checago in partnership with Accenture and World Business Checago. And so our technology can actually be used to gather those customer preferences earlier on and actually contribute to localization data that chains can use to actually improve those processes and reduce their markdowns and pack and holds, based on other, occurrences. So right now, the pandemic obviously created, a large inventory overage problem, but there could be other circumstances with climate that could also create similar problems at a regional level going forward that we think our technology can also serve as an improvement towards.
Tessa.
Can you talk a little bit about pricing? How much do companies pay for this, and then where you're at with revenue right now?
We are pre-revenue. We are actually, what they do have to do is invest in the systems initially. So this 300 store chain that is interested in piloting the technology have already agreed to the cost of purchasing the system. So they're already aware of that. For the purpose of a pilot. So the system that they've agreed to is a $140K in cost, and that's actually provided by our systems partner. We build the content.
All right, Neethi.
Zenah, could you please explain what the funding would be used for over the next year or so?
Yeah, so basically we do want to use the funding to complete a demo that we've already begun based on the stated needs of our 300 store chain prospect. So the content we could show them tomorrow, but we're concerned that is not, it would not resonate as well as the content that we could develop. So we have begun a demo, but we need additional funding to complete that demo.
And then we have a little bit of time if anyone has a last question.
I have a question. If you could walk us through kind of your design process and actually creating this demo, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, basically we did have an introductory remote meeting with this chain, and these are actually folks on their production team. And for them, actually, the central value proposition is being able to show a greater amount of inventory in their retail location. So they're really looking to maximize the value of in-store space at a time when it's, according to CBRE, at a 10-year high in demand. And so basically we did have a back and forth conversation with them where they gave us the input in terms of what our demo should consist of. So that's basically what we're interested in doing immediately, is completing a demo based on their stated needs and based on what we know in terms of their interest in a pilot.
All right, great job, Zenah. Thank you so much. And next we are introducing Curiosity.com and Siri Hibbler.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, we can see you, but not your screen yet.
Okay. Great.
There you go. We're ready when you are.
Sorry about that. Start from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, yes, so I'm introducing Curiosity.com. We're a real estate and business global crowdfunding investment portal and mobile app that was created to build wealth in the African diaspora community across the globe. The challenges that Black businesses face right now is a lack of access to capital. 80% of the Black small businesses owners say that they lack capital in their business. There's challenges in marketing, advertising, and time management, but as you can see, the main problem is lack of access to capital. So Curiosity.com is not only real estate, as I said, it's a business investment as well. Are you aware that 83% of American entrepreneurs do not have access to bank loans? Black entrepreneur loans requests are 3 times less likely to be approved. Are you aware that as 95% of new businesses need some financing, 65% of entrepreneurs use their personal savings, but Black people's equity is 10 times smaller than non-Black business owners? Are you aware that because of this, Black businesses are 5 times less likely to start with an employee? Only 2.2% of American businesses are Black owned. Their revenue is 84% smaller than a non-Black business. There's also opportunity. So are you aware that the opportunity is a 5.9 trillion opportunity? If the number of Black businesses matched the population size and the revenue of each of those firms matched non-Black businesses' revenue, then Black businesses would inject 5.9 trillion in the American economy and generate 1.6 million new jobs. The solution. Curiosity.com is a crowdfunding. I'm sorry, I see you guys on the side here and I have to move you around because I can't read. There you go. Curiosity.com is, again, a platform and a mobile app that is designed to create wealth for the African diaspora community. This disinvested community will be able to put their items up, their investments up on the platform and be able to get investments. The crowdfunding market reached US dollars of 17.3 billion in 2021. Curiosity is, and again, I have to move you guys around. I know why you're kind of like in my site here. Try to go back.
If you hit the view button on the upper right, you can just do speaker view. You won't see us.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And that's kind of what was happening here. So I'm going to just go back here to this one and from the current slide. There we go. All right, there we go. Crowdfunding market reached 17.3 billion in 2021. Curiosity is the first Black focused platform in the market. So we can use the crowd's power to help Black people create generational wealth. Some of our competitors out here, this market is pretty tricky as we need to have projects to attract investors and we need to have investors to attract projects. This is a scale game. The bigger, the better. In addition, besides that, the standard business model is based on small commissions fees. So it is necessary to have scale to survive. the market research number of visitors that visit our competitor's site at this particular time, as you can see, you have Seed Invest. They receive about 424,000 visitors to their sites. Fundrise 15 million. We fund 839,000.
I'm sorry. We're pretty far over 4 minutes. So I got to bring the judges on to ask some questions, and
sure,
hopefully we can cover some of this content in the Q&A. So I am going to have us start with Neethi.
Yeah, Siri, one of my questions for you at the beginning, you talked about this being a global market, and
yes.
I'm curious if there were any regulatory implications of that when you're dealing with financial metrics. So can you talk about how you might address that with a marketplace that's global, and how your product addresses any kind of regulatory challenges?
Absolutely. We have ambassadors in different countries right now. We have Brazil, we have Jamaica, and we have Guyana. And we're continuing to put ambassadors. I mean, we would have saw my presentation. I didn't know it was going that fast. But yes, we have ambassadors. And so we are working out all of those numbers with those ambassadors in those countries.
Grisel?
Could you talk a bit about some of the projects you're hoping to host on your platform?
We're hoping to get individual projects from, there's challenges for Black developers, especially those that are new to the business, just have a vision, and they really just want to help their community. They want to bring economic development to their communities. So we're hoping to get those type of real estate investment projects, and also those small businesses that, again, have those challenges, getting those funds that they need to start a business and to scale up.
Tessa.
And I think you were touching on this at the end there, but yeah, so with the other platforms in the market, what makes a startup or an investor want to come to your platform in comparison to those?
Well, our target market is the African diaspora community. And again, this is the only platform that is out there, an app that will focus on building wealth for that particular community. And so that's what would make them come to us, because we're focusing on their needs and helping them to get their projects funded and get their businesses funded. So this is why they would come to us specifically. They won't get kind of lost in the fray, with so many other people that are out there where they've had challenges for decades, maybe 100 years. The wealth gap is still huge after, over 100 years between the Black and white here in America. So this is why they would come to us, because it's for them, and it's by us, and it's for them.
Any other questions? We have about a minute left. Or Siri, you can cover some of the content. Maybe how you would use the funds if you win.
Yes. Okay, I got 1 minute. Okay, so the funds are going to be used. I wish you guys would have been able to see that. But we have a whole list of what the funds are being used for. Mostly to finish off the website, finish off the mobile application, and all of our digital marketing. So we have a whole list of digital marketing that I wanted to show you guys in that presentation, that we have already researched what we need to do to get those target, our target market to come to our site and to use our app. So that's what the funds would be used for, totally for the marketing and for finishing out the app.
All right, we've got 10 more seconds. Any last comments that we missed? Okay. Well, great job, Siri. And we are going to go on next to NakiNoku and Merle Thomas. We can see you, but oh, there you go. Your presentation is coming live. And we're ready when you are.
Fantastic. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Merle Thomas, and I am the co-founder of NakiNoku, which means taste and see. We are a two-sided product discovery platform meeting the needs of both founders and consumers. So we manufacture and distribute sample sizes of foods from small brands so that you can try before you buy. And so you might be wondering, why create samples? So the story actually begins with a former business that I owned with my husband. We built a brand from scratch. And we tried to grow the business through all the traditional sampling methods. So we went to farmers markets, trade shows, did in-store demos, all as a way to connect with our customers. Unfortunately, these are not scalable methods for various reasons. It can be costly, there's a lot of logistics to manage, and to be honest with you, it was physically exhausting. So as founders, we struggled to scale our brand, and ultimately we had to close the business. So fast forward to today, and what NakiNoku offers is what we wished existed back then. Single serving samples created in small batches at an affordable cost to founders. Our secret sauce, no pun intended, is that we manufacture these samples ourselves in a food safe facility. So no other sampling company makes these samples in small batches. So this allows companies who are new to the market to introduce their products to consumers at a low cost and enables them to scale as they grow. Myself and my co-founder, Tony, both have backgrounds in business, entrepreneurship, finance, and public health. And we produce our samples currently at the Hatchery Checago, and we're members of 1871, both Chicago-based incubators. So we pull these skills together so we can enable passionate founders with small businesses that are making innovative food. And food excites us. And so we have a wide range of food products on our platform, ranging from Chicago chocolate-based barbecue sauces, garbanzo-based bean butters that promote food inclusivity, and a barbecue sauce brand that dates all the way back to the Civil War. Currently, all of our brand partners are underrepresented founders, either minority or women-owned businesses. So why sampling? Well, who doesn't love sampling? Sampling's fun. Think of your Saturday morning Costco run. It builds confidence for the buyer, and when you like a product, you'll refer it to friends and family, and you will become a loyal follower. All great for the founders. But we're also making it accessible for consumers to order any of these innovative samples for just $1 on our platform. As we like to say, small commitment, big flavors. So just to run through our success metrics to date, we launched our first Chicago-based barbecue sampler box in January of this year. And to date, we have distributed nearly 5,000 samples. And I want to emphasize that all our brand partners came to us organically because this is a major unmet need for small businesses. Our channels are looking to grow beyond e-commerce into large events, subscription box partnerships, and in-person events. So our ask, if we are chosen today, would be to use these funds for purchasing of an in-house packaging printer, which would help us support more minority-owned businesses. Thank you so much for your time, as we need your support to scale.
All right, great job. Tessa, can you kick us off?
Yeah, so my question is around like the manufacturing process. How does it work? Like, how do you manufacture such small batches for so many different customers in a profitable way, or a way that could eventually be profitable?
Yeah, fantastic question. And my co-founder, Tony Thomas, he'll probably come off of mute in a minute, but currently we're producing at the Hatchery Checago, and we've been able to work with some fantastic businesses in the sense of understanding what the capabilities of our manufacturing machines are. So we've started with sauces and ranging from your typical barbecue sauce to chocolate-based sauces, and we're exploring how beyond just sauces we could manufacture.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, Tessa, one thing that we have is we bought our own machines and we figured out how to make it work. And so unlike large companies that have huge armies of people, so it doesn't even make sense to turn on the machine for less than 20,000 units at a time, we have a machine that we can run on our own. So much lower overhead in terms of labor that allows us to make it at small runs.
Neethi.
Yeah, Merle, I'm curious if you could share a little bit about the competitive landscape or the alternative for funders and how you kind of stack up compared to that.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Neethi. If you look at competition right now, a lot of what's available, for example, is really like if you think of a kiosk. And so there's sample sizes of products that go into it, but usually they're full size. So it is an opportunity to sample, but it is not at a smaller size. And so that's really what is the attractive opportunity when it comes to bringing people that are founders onto our platform. And then if you look at opportunities that are asking more of the founders to be on their platforms, it's really cost prohibitive in one sense. And so because we're able to do these in smaller batches and in sample sizes, so for example, 2-ounce samples seem to be the sweet spot for a lot of our manufacturers. It's an easier thought for them to digest.
If I can add one more thing to that, also, in terms of our current competitors, people use coupons right now to support when they go into retail. And me and Merle found out when we had our business is that wrecks your margins. It will, and if you're giving away an entire bottle, you still have to pay the grocer, you still have to pay the distributor, and now you're in the hole for a lot more money. So ours is a more efficient use of their capital to sample.
Grisel?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess my question right now is, what is like your current most pressing challenge for your company?
Yeah, thank you so much, Grisel. I would say definitely going back to the use of the funds and how we'd be able to wisely spend that, really just being able to make it, in-house in terms of the packaging and accessing that, or making it accessible for us to have that in-house printing capability so we can continue to support minority-owned businesses and keep the cost down for founders.
And that'll help us to scale ultimately. I think we've proven the model, and now we just need to be able to scale that up.
We have 20 more seconds and give one last comment.
Desiree, sorry, any questions?
I did have one more question. I'm curious if you have any thoughts around sustainability, especially with single-use plastic and things like that, if that's something that's come up.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is something that we've definitely grappled with in terms of, our packaging itself. So looking into packaging materials that would be more sustainable.
Okay,
but then
with that, I'm so sorry you have to finish this over chat because I have to turn this off to be honest and consistent with the rest of the competitors. So thank you so much, Merle and Tony, for coming on. And judges, thank you. And sorry that you have to go make a decision right now. It's always hard, but we will see you back in a little bit. And while the judges are deliberating, I'm excited to bring on a new host or a new guest you guys have probably not met yet, at least not through TechRise. So we have Melissa Widen joining us, and she's the founder and general counsel and chief administrative officer at First Women's Bank. First Women's Bank is an innovative women-led commercial bank on a mission to serve the needs of today's diverse banking clients, support the small business economy, and advance the role of women within it by bridging the gender gap in access to capital. So Melissa, it's great to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Desiree. Thanks so much for having me.
So I know I didn't go into much of your bio, but it'd be great if you shared kind of like what made you co-found First Women's Bank.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I am not a banker, I'm an attorney, but I am a longtime activist on behalf of women and girls with I've spent many years focusing on social justice around women's health and reproductive health care. So I was really focused on supporting women and really advocating and being an activist for women. And when I started talking to a group of women about the idea of forming a women's bank, it really, really spoke to me. In addition to being a commercial litigator by background, I'm also an entrepreneur. I started a trial and litigation boutique in 2009. And after building and running the firm, I really wanted to do another startup and something else in the entrepreneurial space. And so to be able to combine my passion for really advocating and supporting women with the idea of creating a really innovative and different kind of bank, that was really exciting to me.
And I'm assuming by the name that this has not been done before, that this is like the first one is in Chicago?
Absolutely. So we are actually the first new bank in Chicago in over 10 years. There have been other women's banks in the country. And actually, the first one was started by a group of feminists in New York in 1974. And since then, there have been a handful of banks. But we are really the first women-founded, women-led, majority women-owned commercial bank in the country with a strategic focus on the women's economy. And it's really sort of all of those things make us unique, but it's really the fact that we are focused on unlocking capital for the women's economy, for women business owners and business leaders, and all of our strategies are really designed to do that. I'd say that's one of the things that really sets us apart from all the other banks in this country.
Yeah. So can you share a little bit more about like what those funding vehicles are, how they work, and how I guess founders can get a hold of you?
Sure. So I just want to just sort of start by telling you a little bit about sort of the environment that we're operating in, and why we really decided to start a women's bank now. And part of that was because of the data around the women's economy and the power and the potential of the women's economy. I know you may know some of these statistics, but we saw an enormous market opportunity to support women business owners and business leaders, given the fact that the number of women-owned businesses has skyrocketed over the past 20 years, up over 114% in the last 20 years. In the last couple of years, the number of women-owned businesses has increased twice the national average, 4 times as fast as the national average. So the number of businesses are growing, and today over 42% of all businesses in the United States are owned by women. That's over 13 million businesses, and fully half of those are owned by women of color. So this is an incredibly diverse market, and it's actually the spike in the number of businesses owned by women of color that is powering the growth of the women's economy overall. So this is a really diverse market that shares a common need, and that's capital. We've heard a lot about that today. Desiree, you started today off by telling us about the really disturbing trends, but we know that bridging the gender lending gap is something that will make a huge difference for a significant number of women-owned businesses, and we know that that gap is really growing. If you look at sort of the entire women's economy, that those businesses are only accessing an estimated 16% of all commercial loans. That's just the number of loans. And if you look at the dollars lent, it's down to 4.4%. So more than the VC number that we talk about, but not
barely.
Much more.
Yeah. No, that's also disappointing numbers. And when you think about like, what creates economic mobility in a community, of course, education is a factor here, right? But a much faster path to economic mobility is entrepreneurship and small business creation. And so I don't know the stats, it's been a while since I looked at them, but I know that so many of our women-owned businesses fall under $100,000 in revenue or under $250K in revenue, which means it's hard to have employees or do expand in any kind of way. And so this seems like a critical piece in helping businesses get from, barely eking by to, really thriving. And so I'm curious, how do you look at these businesses? I know I'm going off script. I always do. I'm sorry.
No,
how do you look at these businesses and determine like, okay, this one is ready and just hasn't been given a shot yet versus, maybe this one's never going to be ready. What are you looking for?
So just like we are unique in a lot of ways, but we are also FDIC insured state chartered bank. So we have to abide by the same regulations regarding risk that other banks have to. Having said that, though, we bring a really different lens to sort of the credit process. And we have found that, despite this huge imbalance in access to capital, access to commercial financing from banks for women, that there are so many great businesses out there that should be able to access financing from banks, and they just really aren't. And part of it is, who are the decision makers and what lenses are you bringing to those decisions? So some of you may have seen a story on that was covered on WGN a couple of weeks ago about a mother and daughter business. A mother and daughter started a tropical smoothie franchise in Burbank, Illinois. They were turned down by several banks. And they came to us and we made a loan. And actually, they were starting a business. So this was an SBA loan that enabled them to launch their business and start their business, which is really exciting to be able to do. And their business is doing great. So while we see enormous value in the women and minority-owned businesses in the market, we think there's a ton of opportunity, and we're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I mean, so often I think as entrepreneurs, we hear, well, we don't have enough revenue to get a loan that will allow us to kind of get to the next inflection point. And not everything needs to be venture backed, right? Some of these businesses are incredibly lucrative that just need a little bit of extra capital. So what kind of like size loans are we talking about for some of these maybe a little bit more kind of higher risk earlier loans versus maybe some of the more traditional commercial loans?
So, it depends. For us, we are a small business bank. We have a $3 million lending limit for conventional loans and a $5 million lending limit for SBA loans. Probably our sweet spot is $750,000 to $2 million in loans. So we are not making really small, we're not doing micro lending, and we're not making those really small loans that often a new business will need right when they launch. But there are ways to get funding like that. Obviously, this is one way. We are all about really helping our clients access the capital they need. Equity financing from venture funds is not always the best option for businesses. For some, it really is, but we know actually the vast majority of small businesses will have to turn to their banks for small business loans. Less than 1% of businesses will ever pitch for venture funding. And so that's why sort of closing this gender gap and access to capital is so critical, because we will be able to really affect an enormous number of businesses by really making that capital more available. And we do that by taking a somewhat different approach. I would say, we created this business because based on our own experience, we're women entrepreneurs. We walked in your shoes. We actually raised over $36 million in capital to launch this bank. Day in and day out through the pandemic, we faced the same challenges that you guys are facing. And we actually gave us a great window into how are we as a bank going to really help address those challenges, because we were facing the same challenges that we were forming to address. So we are doing a lot of things to really help identify those businesses who need loans and who we can make loans to. We're targeting industries where women tend to concentrate. We designed a lending approach and experience to match the preferences of the women's economy. So we know the data shows that women really want an information-rich environment, that they want a very consultative approach, that when it comes to working with banks, actually, we know the data shows that women have sort of across the board negative impressions of all of their interactions with the financial professionals in their lives. So we have designed a very high touch experience for our borrowers. We have really great speed to decision. We explain our decisions. We've gotten great feedback so far from our borrowers because we are really sort of bringing our real life experience and a lot of sort of data-driven decisions about how can we best serve the women's economy.
So I know we're at time and they're almost back, or maybe they might be back already, but I want to ask two follow-up questions. One is, are there thoughts of having kind of additional services to help some of your borrowers connect with like business development opportunities with some of the kind of bigger corporate partners that could potentially be either as current clients or kind of in our ecosystem? I guess they're not back yet. They're hearing me talk. And then my other probably more relevant and important question is around how do women entrepreneurs get into the process? Like, is it just a general application? Do they need to know somebody? How do they get into your line of sight?
Sure. So I'll take the last question first, which is you can reach out to me. You can go onto our website and send us an email, and we will get back to you. You don't need to know somebody. We are a platform for all small businesses, and would love to connect with you. If we're for most startups, it's really hard to get a bank loan, but we would love to grow with you, to support you in your banking needs, and ultimately be there when you may be able to get a loan from a bank. And to your first question, we are creating, in addition to sort of our bank of money, we're creating the First Women's Business Collective, which is a platform to sort of consolidate resources and products and services in a way that makes them very accessible for business owners. So in addition to the capital, we know business owners need lots of other support, and there are so many resources within the city of Chicago, and we are trying to really sort of create partnerships so that we will offer programming and referral networks and peer circles. And we have an incredible advisory board made up of business leaders and heads of entrepreneurial organizations and industry experts, all to help support our clients, and also business leaders who may not yet be our clients but hope to be in the future. And that's coming in late 2022 and early 2023.
Well, we can't wait to see that resource and help distribute it among our TechRise founders. Many of them who are revenue generating. But thank you so much for introducing First Women's Bank to our community and for taking the time today, Melissa. And hopefully we'll see you back soon. It looks like the judges have a decision. So founders, if you come back, camera on and unmuted so we can announce the winner. And then who is going to announce today?
I'll be announcing.
Okay, Grisel. I think we have everyone on. So when you're ready, we're ready.
All right, so I'll start by saying we're a couple minutes late because it was really hard to narrow down the list and decide who we wanted to select as the winner. But in the end, I think because of the identified need and the traction to date, we have decided to award NakiNoku as the winner of this week's pitch.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. I don't know if you want to say a couple things or if it's emotional.
A bit speechless, but I am so truly appreciative of everyone, their feedback, honest feedback. And Tony and I are just really excited to just be able to do amazing things with the funds and really just bless and benefit the Chicagoland community and the amazing partners that we are onboarding. So thank you so much. This is an absolutely great way to end our week. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you all. And to all of the founders who presented today, you had incredible pitches, incredible businesses. We can't wait to have you back on TechRise. We are taking a little break, an August break. So we will start again in September after Labor Day, but that doesn't mean it's too late to apply. So please, if you're thinking about it, apply at techrise.co/apply. And as always, thank you to Stephen at Verizon for continuing to be supportive and in that deliberation room, kind of guiding them along into the hard decisions. And also a special thanks to Get Cities for your continued support of these amazing women. So have a wonderful weekend, whether you go to Lala or not. See you in a month or so.
Bye.
And thank you, judges. Sorry, thank you so much for your time too.